All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's Untitled Power. So I wanted to make another video addressing Flex Wheeler's 2017 return to the Olympia stage. I made a video about a week or so ago giving a brief analysis based on a photo that he had put on Instagram. But since then, he's posted quite a few more pictures where you can see quite a bit more of his physique and get a better indication of how he's looking. So first and foremost, he's not competing in the open division of the Olympia. A lot of people make that confusion and make that mistake. They think he's competing in the open division like Kevin Levrone did. That is not the case. He's competing in classic physique, not the open division. So he's not trying to put on a whole ton of muscle. So that's why he's not looking crazy big. He's looking bigger, obviously, but he's not looking crazy big. So here's probably the craziest picture that I've seen of him so far. He just posted this on Instagram maybe a day or two ago. He's looking really round and really full in this photo, and this is probably the freakiest photo that I've seen of Flex Wheeler in his 2017 prep for classic physique. Now, a common issue that a lot of people are talking about is the synthol issue. So recently, in an interview with Generation Iron, Flex Wheeler admitted to heavily using synthol in his arms and shoulders. And it looks to me like in his tricep, you can still kind of see something going on, whether that's left over from synthol use or whether that's some kind of scar tissue. Whatever the case may be, when you look at his arms, there's something going on that's, just weird about his arms. And that's one of the things we need to consider that might detract from his placings. So another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that he's competing in classic physique means that he only has to weigh 195 pounds on stage, but I will get to that in a minute. So Flex Wheeler, in this photo, you can clearly see that he has that pointy elbow thing going on. So this is something that we've seen with Ronnie Coleman as well. So a lot of people were asking me what caused that, if that was caused by the synthol or whatever. No, this is not caused by synthol. This is a condition called bursitis, which is essentially the calcification of the elbow due to basically, excessive repeated trauma to the elbow. So probably excessive overhead lifting movements cause just the repeated movement in that joint and tendon, causing bursitis and causing calcification, making the elbow look pointy like that. Now, a lot of people see this with Ronnie Coleman as well. So that's basically the answer to that question. So again, Flex Wheeler is only 5'9". So the classic physique weight cap for 5'8" to 5'9" is 195 pounds or less. So that is the weight limit that he has to reach for that. Now, when he was a competitive pro, he was only between 225 pounds and 235. So he's only coming in, roughly 30 pounds less than he was in his competitive prime. Now, it's also important to note that he had focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, which is a form of kidney disease, and that is what caused his kidney replacement at the age of 37. So it's been about 15 years since he had his kidney transplant. So that's what a lot of people are concerned about, that he's going to tax and abuse his system and abuse his organs and effectively perhaps ruin his kidney transplant. So we're going to see what happens with that, but it's important to remember he only has to weigh 195 pounds or less. So it's not like he's going through the rigid drug use that he would have to do to be in the open division. He's just doing enough to get to 195 pounds, which is not that crazy. So he's not going overboard, but still maybe it might be stressful enough on the system that it could have some effect on his kidneys. Hopefully not. So it's also important to keep in mind that since he's competing in classic physique, the current classic physique champion is Danny Hester. And Danny Hester, in my opinion, is not that impressive of a bodybuilder. And that's why he went to classic physique. I believe Danny Hester is about 50 years old, maybe late 40s. So he's been on the scene for a very long time and never really had that much crazy success in bodybuilding, especially not to the level that Flex Wheeler had in his prime. So I think if, the competition is guys like Danny Hester, Sadiq Hadzovic, some of these other guys that compete in classic, I think Flex Wheeler might actually have a decent chance of placing in the top 6 from the standpoint of these guys are not that big. Their physiques are not that crazy. And Flex Wheeler could potentially bring a physique that'll rival a guy like Danny Hester. So will he win the 2017 Classic Physique Olympia? I think the answer to that question is no. The other question that we need to ask is how are his legs going to look, because he really hasn't shown any pictures of his legs. This is the same thing that we saw with Kevin Levrone. Did not show any pictures of his legs leading up to the Olympia, and then they did not look very good at all. So we could also consider the fact that he might not have, any leg gains whatsoever. So that's another thing to think about. But again, he's only 51 years old. So in the grand scheme of things, 51 for classic physique is not that old. You got to keep in mind, Darren Charles competed in, I think, almost 20 classic physique competitions in the year of 2016. And he's almost 50. Danny Hester, like I said, 50 or close to 50, and he won the whole thing last year. So I think it's definitely not out of the question for Flex Wheeler to be able to, maybe place at the Olympia. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that he's going to win, because I don't think he's going to win by any stretch of the imagination. But is it possible for him to be top 10, maybe even top 6? I think it's a possibility. So all things considered, I think he looks good. I wish him the best. I hope that his health, stays good. So give the video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Flex Wheeler's comeback. Do you think it's a good move? Do you think it's a bad move? And how do you think he's going to place? So thanks for watching the video. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.